Join Gator great Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. It's a live edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning. Dun, 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 dun. Hey, JC. Dun, 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 dun. Hey, corn dog. Bum, bum, bum. Yeah. We just beat the hell out of you again, JC.
We did.
Y'all got run ruled by the Lady Gators. Gators win the series in Tuscaloosa at the Rhodes House. Take some of that, JC.
Softball. All right. Well, hey, look, I'm a Tim Walton fan. I don't know. I didn't even see that because I was traveling yesterday.
Well, you can watch it again tonight. Watch us beat their ass again tonight in Game 3. We win the series, win the first two. So take that.
Oh, my day is ruined. I'm going to bed. I'm going back to bed now. I can't walk.
I've been up since like 4 o'clock this morning, JC.
Why?
Because of the damn time change.
Well, I'm glad for it because it means we get to play golf till 8 o'clock, right? I mean, don't you think? Don't you think that's a good thing?
Well, yeah, it's always a great thing. I played a lot of golf this week and enjoyed myself and look forward to more golf.
So did you watch any basketball or golf this weekend?
I did. We got a bunch of texts. Gators lose at Vanderbilt in the last seconds. Look, let me read some of these texts. It does not matter, people. The Tennessee Vols, who are going to be a 1 seed, lost at Vanderbilt this year, just so y'all know that. Okay. And it wasn't a last second loss either. Let me get to some of these texts.
Let's just send Vanderbilt to the damn Sweet 16.
We should. Real quick, this is a text from Ken. I don't know where Ken lives, but he said Gators softball killed Alabama, JC. Here's one from somebody up in the 904. Vanderbilt loss is a terrible stain on a good basketball season. A good high school baseball team with Shell Gator pitching this year. No World Series this year. Gator women's basketball gave it a good try, but came up short. I think we need to send my man here to Dr. Phil. First of all, as I stated, losing to Vanderbilt meant nothing. I mean, would you want to win it? Yes. It was probably the worst game we've played all year, I thought. Gator baseball will be fine. You got any comments on that, JC?
No, I have no concerns. I'm not staying up at night or waking up real early in the morning worried about the baseball team. And as far as the basketball game goes, the only thing I would say about that is, it doesn't really change a whole lot of anything. It's because, the Gators are going in as a 6th seed in the tournament, right? And I don't think the Jerry Palm line or the bracketologist Lenardi is going to move Florida from, say, the 6th seed down to the 10th seed because of that game. All of that can be forgiven with a couple wins in the SEC tournament. But I would just say this, you don't see championship teams losing to cellar dwellers ever.
And hang on. I just stated the number one seed.
They're not a championship team, dude. They haven't done anything. They
JC. Florida's not a championship basketball team either.
No, but the thing is that
that's a terrible analogy, by the way.
Okay, well, here's what I'm going to say to you. If you let me finish, and that is, you got these guys believing in Final Four. Yes, you do. Yeah. You said that last week. You said that the week before. They then go play Vandy, and now people want to know, hey, QB, what the hell? What kind of Final Four team loses to Vanderbilt?
Well, because they don't watch basketball and they don't understand the landscape of the long season.
The point is that UConn ain't losing to Rutgers. And good teams don't lose.
UConn and Florida are not the same basketball team.
This is the end of the year. You don't go and lose to garbage like that and expect.
Okay, so let me ask you this. If you beat Vanderbilt and you lose to Georgia or Missouri in the first round, what's the difference?
Right, but what if you lose to Vanderbilt and then lose to Georgia and Missouri?
You're still in the damn tournament. What does it matter?
True. But here's what it matters. It matters that you're playing like crap, and you don't want to lose the bad.
All you got to do. You can be there. You have seen multiple times teams play good ball, whatever sport it is, and then they lose the game. It has nothing to do. Look, I'm just telling you, I have zero concerns about the basketball team. By the way, I
You've been
saw
saying
Walter
that
Clayton
for a
Jr.
month. QB,
I
you've
saw
been saying
Walter
that for a
Clayton
month.
Jr. at the golf course yesterday. He's a good golfer, by the way. He's got a great swing.
I get it, dude. All I'm saying is you're setting these folks to believe in all kinds of great things, and then when something slips up like this, you're trying to dismiss it as no big deal. And I get why, but
No, because I'm a realist, JC. How many times have I tried to calm people down that just because if you win or lose against Vanderbilt does not mean you're going to advance in the tournament. We still may not advance. Do I think this is a very good basketball team? Absolutely, they're a good basketball team, and I think they're going to go deep.
Okay, but the reality is that their season is going to be defined by what they do now, not what they did in January and February. And right now,
right,
you've got people in a little bit of a concern because they left Gainesville and just crapped themselves, okay, against Vanderbilt. All right, come on, dude.
Just like a 1 seed
Arizona
Tennessee
losing to Cal right now. I mean, things like this shouldn't happen. I'm sorry.
You're talking about one. Your analogy is not. It's apples and oranges. You're talking about these 1 seeds. We're not a 1 seed. We're a 6 seed.
What you say is a possible Final Four team playing a team that's going.
I think they are a possible Final Four team.
Well, they could be. You're right. They absolutely could be. But there's nothing wrong with being a little bit concerned about the idea that
I have zero concern. I'm not concerned.
You have zero concern, but the people watching your show have plenty of concerns. You can't just
these people are concerned
because
these people get concerned. These people get concerned if a Gator football player gets a parking ticket, or if a Gator football player is seen playing golf and not at spring practice. I saw 2 football players playing golf yesterday too. People are concerned about that. People have hobbies.
Here's what people are concerned about. People are concerned about freaking 11-14 the last 2 years, and so should you. And so should
I'm not concerned because there's not a damn thing I can do about it, JC. What can you do about
it? Let's talk about something else then. If you don't want to talk about
Daniel says he's not concerned either, by the way. Greg says they're going to make a deep run.
Then what are you talking about? All these 10 text messages and all this crap coming down.
I just read some of them. I'm not going to read them all.
This guy's a moron, and this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. You can't be saying that kind of stuff.
Okay, so JC, right here, this is from a 941. He says UConn lost by 15 at Seton Hall, who's 4th in the Big East. Tell JC it happens to everyone.
I know that. I get it. I'm just telling.
Well, then you're talking out of both sides of your mouth.
This is a team in Vanderbilt, as you well know. They won 4 games in the league, dude.
JC, I don't care if they had lost to Niagara.
And by the way, Seton Hall is a hell of a lot better than Vanderbilt. Seton Hall's going to the tournament.
Okay, so if you want to keep arguing, JC, if you want to keep arguing about this, tell me why that you were all over the jock strap of the Tennessee Vols. Tell me why Tennessee lost at Vanderbilt and lost big.
When was that? 2 months ago?
Well, I don't care if it was last week or it's a 1 seed. I'm just going by your analogy.
Okay. You want to play your best basketball at tournament time. Do you agree or not? Yes.
Yeah, okay. But that's not the tournament. That's not the tournament. It's regular season.
The Vanderbilt back in December, January, whenever it is, they ain't losing to Vanderbilt yesterday. I'm just telling you, bro. You can go ahead.
Okay, well, we've had multiple Billy Donovan teams lose at Vanderbilt. I'll leave it at that. Live a healthier lifestyle with our bold, flavorful smoothies and our amazing food. Tropical Smoothie. When you eat better, you feel better. Also want to give a congratulations to Coach Spurrier. He is receiving the Walter Camp Distinguished American Award at a banquet in Connecticut this Friday.
You need a tropical smoothie.
No, I'm perfectly fine. I don't stress about any of this stuff.
You think I look seriously?
No, JC. No, you're. I understand what you're saying, but it makes absolutely zero sense. It would be like the Gators needed to win that game to make the SEC, to make the NCAA tournament.
Sorry, I just choked up half of what I said, what I was drinking there. Look, they're going to make the tournament. Okay, that's
right.
one.
But what I'm saying is, if they were playing basketball, if they were playing and they were on the bubble, if lost that game, then you have concern. This team is so talented. I think we have one of the most talented basketball teams we've had in the
Here you
history
go
of
again.
Florida.
Here you go again. Here you go again. They've done absolutely nothing, and you're already calling them the best team since 05. Please, Jesus. I mean, 06, 07. Dude, give them a chance to do something.
I think they're as good as some of those teams.
To win something
they're
important.
JC. If you don't think this basketball team is one of the better teams that the Gators have ever had, they've broken records this year. They've beaten more top 10 teams than Billy Donovan's team. I'm not comparing him to the 06s and all those guys because they won national titles. But if you can't see that this team is that damn good,
QB,
just because they lost to Vanderbilt, who cares?
They're sixth, okay? Sixth. Get over it. They're not the greatest team. They're not even.
Well, JC, you were all over. Hang on a second. Were you not all over South Carolina's jockstrap?
South Carolina's what, second or third?
They're fifth. They're fifth.
Okay, what are they? One game behind Kentucky?
We're two. We're two.
You're 2 games behind Kentucky?
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I don't think. Look, I said I believe they're going to make it. They're going to go to the tournament.
Do you think Florida's better than Alabama in basketball?
You just want to
I'm just
play
asking.
your best basketball,
and they're going to be fine. They'll be fine.
All right. Well, then what are we worried
31
about?
versus the Gators got hosed on a call at the end of the game. Look, I'm one who never complains about officiating, but that call possibly was one of the worst calls I've ever seen in college basketball. That kid was not even touched by a Gator. Went flying through the air on a rebound because he was out of control.
I think these referees get whistleitis. I mean, they just have to blow a whistle when some guy's driving the basket. It's almost automatic. It's like when you say throw the ball downfield, you might get a pass interference call because most of the time that happens. Shoot, drive the basket, and you're going to get a whistle, or something's going to happen, and the guy doesn't even touch him. I agree with that.
Christopher says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, Walter Clayton's lazy pass to Kugel with 12 seconds left cost them. Look, you can look at the turnover at the end of the game. I get it. There are multiple other things throughout the game. We got out rebounded. Look, we didn't play good. I think it was the worst performance we've had all year long. All year long.
That's all.
And it's probably, I mean, it's not surprising because you're going to Vanderbilt. It's a weird place to play. You're coming off a huge win against Alabama.
Yeah, keep regurgitating what I just said about.
You didn't say any of that.
I said you want to play your best basketball,
but you didn't say what I just said. What happens is a lot of times after big wins like that on a senior night, you go your next game. There's a so-called letdown or whatever. Dan says on Facebook Live, JC just doesn't want to talk to beat down in softball. Very true.
Oh my. Yes, that March softball, that means a lot.
Hey, it's conference play, JC. This is not, we're not playing non-conference games. Y'all are 0-2 in the conference, just so you know.
Y'all, do I play for Alabama?
No, but you wear the Alabama hat in multiple sports, so why not softball?
Okay. Yeah. Well, I agree. I love my school. I don't care what y'all think. I do. But just like you love yours. But I'm just saying, man.
I love my school, but I don't. I try to give you facts.
Okay. Look here. I'm going to look at these comments now too because I don't think you're reading all the good ones.
Well, I don't have time to read them all.
Jimmy M says you look totally stressed. You are barfing on air. Simmer down.
Yeah, he's talking to you.
Listen, I'm not stroking over Vandy, Jimmy. I appreciate your concern. I'm just saying you want to play your best basketball at the end of the year. And many people, and I'm not criticizing them for thinking this, are not happy with the way you played at Vanderbilt.
They're clueless when it comes to sports, is all I'm going to say.
Oh.
I'm serious. Tell me who it is, and I will tell you if they're clueless or they have a clue.
Jeff says Tennessee won by 13 at Vandy.
No, they didn't.
That's lost. What Jeff said. Jeff said that. You sure about that, QB?
I saw it yesterday when they talked about us losing there.
Tennessee
Vanderbilt beat them. Vanderbilt, A&M lost there. Tennessee lost there. Or the guys doing the ESPN thing had it wrong then. All right, so we got a text here. I'll look it up.
You shouldn't blame him. You should know yourself. You don't blame.
I'm not going to sit here and look up Tennessee's schedule.
Well,
Josh from Mississippi
they
says,
did not at Vandy, dude.
Okay, well, maybe they didn't. Who cares?
You don't even know. My God, you're raising hell, beating my ass, telling me things that aren't even true.
Okay, well, I'm telling you this, that the Florida basketball team is a very good basketball team, and you should not worry about them losing to Vanderbilt. Josh from Mississippi said, I heard a stat that Pro Football Focus, Mertz was better last year when under pressure or out of the pocket than he was when the pocket was clean. Only SEC QB like that. What would be your best guess as to why that would be? With all due respect to Pro Football Focus, I think they do a great job in a lot of areas. But again, when they grade players, I don't know how they can grade them because they don't know the play being called and they don't know the responsibility of that player. So I don't know how you can grade it. But that's interesting. I don't know. I'll have to think about that, Josh. But again, I just don't know how, because they put grades out on NFL players and college players, and none of them know what's being called or what's being said in a meeting. They just watch the tape and say, and they say outside zone. Well, the left tackle should have done it. Well, you don't know what the left tackle is called. So anyway, Rodney says Lagway completed a forward pass in practice. We had some good news this weekend.
Well, hey,
I have not been to a practice.
Was it more than 8 yards? That was my big thing last year. We got to throw the ball further down the field.
Well, that's got to be called.
Well, yeah, I know, but he can still change play at the line. He can do whatever he wants. He's a quarterback. But
yeah. Paul says we're not all close. Paul, I respect your opinion, but I am not worried one bit. And I played a lot of basketball at a pretty high level, and I could talk to all our basketball experts. They are not concerned.
Listen, here's the thing. In all seriousness, my expectation is that this team makes it to the Sweet 16. Anything short of that wipes out everything that we've been talking about since January. So that's all I'm going to leave it at. I'm going to say these guys best get to the Sweet 16, or to me, the season is just a regular season. It's nothing special. And
getting to the Sweet 16 is a huge, huge year.
Well, it is, but I mean
But I think they're good enough to do that. I think they're
right.
They're talented. So we will not have Mike Morgan today. He is in a meeting this morning with Mark Wise. They're calling the Sun Belt Championship tonight on ESPN between Arkansas State and James Madison. So we'll either have him tomorrow or Wednesday. So get your basketball. We'll probably have him Wednesday, I think. Paul wants to know what's going to happen to Kyle Trask.
Trask.
He'll probably re-sign. I don't know if his rookie contract is up, but Baker Mayfield's getting a 3-year, $100 million deal.
I'm not surprised by that at all.
No,
he had a great year.
I told people this because Trask is he's one of my son's best friends.
Yeah.
I think Trask, I've said this when he got drafted, I said he's going to be a guy that's going to be a 10-year backup. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, but it would be great to see him on the field just maybe once.
I agree, but think about how many people get drafted
now, I know,
or in the NFL that hardly never play.
Well, there we go. But it's okay. It's okay if he's on a roster. That means he's not pushing pencils and papers in some office, and that's not what they want to do. That's hell. So I'm with you there. I see that. Hey, by the way, not to change gears too drastically here, but who won the golf tournament this weekend?
The number one player in the world, Scotty Scheffler.
And somebody on this podcast picked that guy.
You did pick. I was going to get to that, JC. Congratulations to you for picking.
I just want that guy.
Dental, Gator Nation's number one choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte surrounding areas. You picked the number one player in the world to win the tournament.
I picked a former Bay Hill champion because I knew he had won there before, and I also picked a guy that can kill that course with consistency, which is exactly what he did because it played really hard yesterday. Rory
and they
came
complained.
off the rails.
I don't understand.
So many guys came off the rails yesterday. Except
these PGA guys or these professional golfers, they complain when conditions are hard. I don't understand it.
I heard that, but I also heard a couple people talk about how they think it makes them better for the big tournaments. And
no. These guys, JC, literally were saying this course is set up way too hard because it's firm and there's rough. They do not like rough.
So
I would, if I was in charge of every golf tournament, I would grow the hell out of the rough.
Well, and that's what the Masters doesn't do, by the way.
Right.
But, and that's one of my big complaints about the Masters. But 15 under won this tournament. 10 under was second. All right. How about Wyndham Clark? You ask Wyndham Clark, hey, dude, if we guarantee you're going to shoot 10 under, would you feel pretty good about that before the tournament? He would have said, I'd probably win it, because a lot of times in that tournament, single digit wins. Wyndham Clark goes 10 under, gets second.
Tony says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Melvin Log, ballsy pick by JC picking Scheffler.
Well, I call it an informed pick, and if you had done it before the tournament, you could have won 8-1 or 10-1 odds. So it may have been ballsy, but it would have won you a lot of money.
Did you do that?
No.
Okay.
I did not. I forgot to do that, but I'm just saying it's not an automatic pick just because he's the number one player in the world. He is a former winner there, and I think
did you see
winners at that course.
Did you see? I'm curious if our listeners who play golf, did they think it should have been a penalty on Wyndham Clark or not? Did you see what he did?
No, I missed it. I was fine.
You'll have to Google it or go to Twitter. His ball was in some heavy rough. He took out his sand wedge and kind of pressed the rough down behind his ball. It kind of moved a tab, but not really. But they didn't give him a penalty. I thought it should have been a penalty, possibly.
Well, I mean, when you got the entire universe watching, if it's not a penalty, I'm okay.
But it's almost like he improved his lie, kind of, by mashing down behind the ball. So,
well, I was stunned to see Hideki shoot 76 or 7 and Rory come off the rails. I mean, that's just what that course can do to you, unless you're really consistent, and that's what Scheffler was. So,
all right, Bobby in Atlanta on the Titan MR text line says, Shane, I want your thoughts on retired jersey numbers at UF. I personally think number 15 should be retired. What do you think? I do not think it should be retired. I don't think any numbers. I'm not a retired jersey guy because too many athletes are attached to numbers, and that may hurt you when it comes to recruiting or whatever. I don't have a problem like putting a jersey like hanging from the rafters, but people can still wear that number. You got any thoughts on that, JC?
Not really, but I tend to agree with you there. I don't know why you'd take a number out of circulation just because some guy 25 years ago had a great career. You celebrate that guy's career. You do what you can, bring him back to campus, whatever you want to do. But I agree with you. Some kids, they look at these numbers and they don't know who wore something 20 years ago. They weren't alive 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
so, I mean, number 11, who was it? Ben Hanks that wore that number?
Well, I was number 11 in high school and couldn't wear number 11 here.
You couldn't?
I was retired.
But didn't Ben Hanks wear it?
But I'd already chosen a number when I came as a freshman.
Okay, but it wasn't retired because another player wore it.
JC, the number was retired. Coach Spurrier got here in 1990. I was here in 88. 1990. He took his and Scott Brantley's numbers out of retirement, and he gave number 11 to Ben Hanks for all the things that Ben did to get eligible to come to school, all of his home life, and then that number went to Thad Bullard after him. And it was kind of a unique number, but I didn't have an opportunity to wear it.
So, QB, they want to know about your boy Lagway and whether he could throw or not. Let me ask something to somebody who would ask that question. Would the Gator staff be concerned? Would they have this guy? Would NIL give him a lot of money if he couldn't throw the ball? That's the reason why I don't think that question is legit. Because, you know, Justin, I appreciate this, but I'm reading. Please go, Shane, go watch Lagway throw the ball and give him an expert opinion on it. I think the opinions have already been made.
I've seen him throw a little bit, not in live, but look.
I mean, maybe it's
pretty much all quarterbacks can throw the football in air. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because that's what 7-on-7 is, what people get so excited looking at these videos and stuff. It's can you make decisions in about 2 seconds, throw the ball accurately while you're getting clobbered. And I think DJ's got a chance to be a good player, but just watching him throw on these clips on air doesn't do a whole lot for me. I will eventually get out to practice and watch, but
go watch.
You know, there's so much more to playing quarterback than having a strong arm and looking good on air.
Well, people here want your opinion on.
Well, I know that, but you
get
really
your
can't
butt out to practice.
You can't give anybody's opinion until you actually see them playing live action when they know they're going to get hit.
I think you need to quit playing so much golf and go out there and watch practice.
Well, I will when I get time.
Mm-hmm.
They need to work their practice schedule around my schedule. How about that?
Absolutely. I don't know what they're thinking.
All right, we
I
got some
agree.
questions here about baseball. Obviously, Gators win the series against St. Mary's, take 2 out of 3. They got the semis rolling into town tomorrow night, and then they start SEC play this weekend against Texas A&M. Comes to Condron Ballpark. So,
Yes,
everybody
that'll be fun to
there's
watch.
tons of texts on the Titan our text line. I'm not going to read them all,
That
but
Titan MRI text line, that Titan MRI text line is just on fire right now.
well,
Wow.
it is. So, but
Okay.
I have zero concerns. People talking about the pitching. Um, I think people need to just wait till we get to conference play because that's all that matters.
Well, and go back and watch the Miami series if you're worried. I mean, that's when to me, it looked like the team was dialed in for the first time. I mean, like really dialed in for the first time this year.
Miami.
I mean, in the Miami series, yeah, where they went
Well,
down.
we took 2 out of 3 there too, JC.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think.
Well, the goal is to win each series.
Yeah, win 2 out of 3. Try to sweep.
I'm trying to text Scott Carter. Scott Carter forgot, and he's going to come on, so I'm trying to send him.
You better get some communication lines opened up for some of these guys there, QB.
What do you mean?
The other guy didn't even remember he was on or whatever.
Who's the other guy?
Some guy. I think it was Scott. I think Scott forgot he had to go on.
Well, Scott is JC. Scott is a busy man. Scott has multiple sports to cover. He's got young kids. You ain't got a damn thing going on but travel the world.
Okay. Well, all right. So I've never been busy. You're right. I have no idea what that is, but I'll tell you that I think fans, as far as the baseball goes, I watched one game and that's all I needed. I'm fine with it. I think they're going to be fine. They're going to win the majority of their series this year and be highly seeded and probably even host a super regional. I really want to say that could happen, but I caution to get too far out there on the limb before.
Well, these people that don't think the Gators are even going to make postseason play this year.
What? Really? They don't? Okay.
Should they worry, JC?
You know what?
Should they worry?
Maybe they're right and I'm wrong because I haven't done my extensive college baseball D1 research yet. I don't know. I don't know who's really good or bad. I just know I watched them play Miami. They looked really good. Maybe that's just one game. I should be judging them on more sample sizes, maybe. But
you keep talking about Miami. They took 2 out of 3. It's not like they went down there and blew them out. 3 games. Real quick, let's get to this day in sports. Brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life. Campus USA Credit Union. By the way, the Gators will play the winner of Missouri, Georgia on Thursday. I don't think they've announced the time yet. 2020, JC, on this day, the NBA suspends their season until further notice after Utah Jazz, Rudy Gobert.
Gobert. Yeah.
I like Gobert better.
Yeah.
Test positive for COVID-19. Remember that?
Oh, God, the COVID thing. I just go back to that. So I can't even talk about it. I don't want to talk about COVID. It's just what, yeah. I do remember, QB. I do remember. I also remember watching Ohio State play in an empty stadium. I mean, I remember all that. And now I look back and think to myself, was that really necessary? Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't know, but there will be a study on that one day. There will. So I'm looking at, let me see here. I'm looking for, QB, Tennessee beat Vandy by 13 in Nashville.
Okay, well, they gave
and
us
then
information.
they beat Vandy by 35.
Okay, well, that's why they're a 1 seed, JC.
Well, but that's what my point was. If you just let me say it, you don't see great super teams going to the Elite Eight, losing to teams like Vanderbilt. Jesus.
Okay, well, here's the thing. I've seen 1 seeds lose to 16 seeds in the tournament.
Really?
Yes.
Which one was that?
I've seen 2 seeds lose to 15 seeds.
I have seen that. Well,
yeah.
I think there's only been one seed that's lost in the
Virginia
tournament.
lost, and I think one other team may have done it after them. I'm not sure though. Dan says we're in the night bracket, 8:30 game. So that if it's the 8:30, it'd be 7:30 there. That means it's going to start on time because you got the break between. Thank goodness we're not the late game because that thing usually starts about 11 o'clock.
Yeah, you're going to get the break between sessions, and I really would love. And by the way, that's why I got this hat here. but this is the hat of the Nashville Predators, and they play in Bridgestone Arena where the SEC basketball tournament's going to be, and they're hot right now. They might make the playoffs. They probably will make the playoffs, but they're pretty cool. It's so cool to go to Nashville. If you
let me. I gotta look at something real quick. Keep talking,
okay,
JC.
you look at that. It's so cool to go to Nashville, walk up and down Broadway, and then all of a sudden you turn around and you're hearing all this music going on in every building, on every corner, up and down Broadway Street. And then all of a sudden in the middle of it all is a place called Bridgestone Arena. And that's about a 16, 17, 18,000 seat arena that can host a basketball game or a hockey game. What's better than that? I don't know if there's a setup in all of America that is cooler than Broadway Street in Nashville, where you got Dierks Bentley's bar over here, Kid Rock's bar over here, all this up and down stuff with music. And then out of nowhere comes a sporting arena where people can go blow it all out and watch their team play. That's amazing. And they don't have to drive anywhere. They can just walk in and walk out.
So there's been 2 1 seeds lose to 16. Fairleigh Dickinson.
Okay, so all right.
JC, so I noticed last week you had a Florida Panthers hat on.
Oh,
today you have a Dallas Stars hat on. Both of them are leading their divisions. I've yet to see you put on a New York Rangers hat.
I'm not a big Rangers
or Vancouver Canucks. When are we going to see those?
Vancouver Canucks. Here, how about this one? This here would be your Nashville Predators. This one right here, this is sacrilegious, but this is the Toronto Maple Leafs right here. And I don't like either of these guys, but I think they're cool hats, and they will match plenty of my golf outfits that I have set up for this member guest.
Well, you're the only person that wears hockey hats when he plays golf. So, all right, JC, we got to go. Scott Carter's going to give us some information on spring sports. Have a great day.
All right, bye-bye.
That's JC. Join us on the Titan No More Hotline, courtesy of Duffield Home Improvements. Take a quick time out. When we come back, we'll be joined by senior writer from FloridaGators.com, Scott Carter. You're watching and listening to PodUp Matthews in the Morning. We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official injury and accident law attorneys of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Campus USA, put some star power to work in your financial life with Campus USA Credit Union. Dave & Buster's, eat, drink, play, watch. Radware, your local provider of promotional products, uniforms, and apparel. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Silverback Concrete, Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, Radware, F45, Quality Plumbing. Our touchdown sponsors are Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Ruse Ogre State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit OgreInsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. Going to go back to the Titan MR hotline, courtesy of Duffield Home Improvements. We're joined by senior writer from FloridaGators.com, Scott Carter. Good morning, Scott. How you doing?
Hey, Shane, man. Good morning. Spring break in Gainesville, so a little less traffic today.
Ah, I forgot about that. That is very true. Scott, let's start with baseball. Gators take 2 out of 3 against the St. Mary's Gales. I have a bunch of texts this morning. I can't get to all of them, but a lot of people are concerned about the Gator pitching.
Yeah, well, Kevin O'Sullivan's a little concerned too. After they lost to UCF, Sully, he's always good for a couple of these each season where he's going to say exactly what's on his mind. And I kind of knew it was coming before he even started his press conference. And he basically challenged the young pitchers. Hey, we're 12 games into the season at that point. Time to grow up. And I think they've got the arms. That's always been the staple of Sully's program while at Florida. While he's had some really good offensive players like Wyatt Linkford and Jack Caglione and Mike Zunino. I mean, it's always been built around pitching and defense. And so when you see some of the early struggles on the mound, I mean, it's just inexperience. It's just guys making bad pitches in situations where they should know better. And I think he's going to be tinkering with that midweek rotation spot. And even against St. Mary's over the weekend, Shane, I mean, other than Jack Caglione on Sunday, it certainly wasn't lights out pitching by, Cade Fisher on Friday, nor Liam Peterson on Saturday. So I think it's a case of where, some of these guys are going to have to start locking in and showing improvement because Texas A&M's coming to town to open SEC play this coming weekend. And if not, Sully pretty much outlined what's going to happen. They won't be pitching. So either get it going or he's going to make some changes. So we'll see how it all shakes out. It's still early. But, yeah, the pitching has been somewhat subpar early in the season. But yet they're still, 10-5 going into SEC play. So no need to ring alarm bells yet, but they do need to be better in that area.
Yeah, so the midweek games, I've never really cared about those. I understand they're important, but I really don't think they are. Do you think when we get so right now, I'm pretty sure he's going to have the same rotation when the Aggies roll in here. Is there any chance he moves Cags from the day 3, or do you think he keeps him there? He's pitched pretty well, by the
way. Yeah, he's so strategic in using Cags on Sunday. I don't see him changing that right now, but Sully's not one to. I mean, he's always trying to find the right solution. So I'm not ruling it out, but I think he's got a lot of faith in Fisher on Friday night, and then Liam Peterson to me has just an amazing upside on Saturday. I just think they need to, pitch better. I mean, it's about location, really. I mean, that's what the command of the baseball is what Sully keeps talking about. When you don't locate your pitches, I mean, you're going to get hit. I mean, all these teams that they play, they've got good players. So, and then if there's not, I mean, there's always an option of, do you maybe move Brandon Neely back into the starting rotation? He's been your closer. Maybe use one of these young arms like Alex Philpott or somebody else to try to close. But I know through that UCF game the other day, the starters, I think, had pitched 40 innings. The bullpen had pitched 63. That's an imbalance that you just can't play a season with, So you got to get more innings out of your starters.
Yeah, for sure. Your thoughts on Colby Shelton? He's had a pretty good start in his Gator career.
Yeah, I mean, he looks every bit. I could see why they were excited when he transferred from Alabama. And, I sent out a tweet the other day when you start looking at the transfer athletes that the Gators have acquired through the portal in this era that we're in. I look at Osiris Torrance probably being the crown jewel. And I think Zion Pullen is right near the top. And I think in baseball, Colby Shelton is that guy. I mean, and he could be better in the long term than anybody else because I think he's got some, major league potential. But he's been a huge boost to the offense early on. And what you had in Caglione coming back, but that's quite a tandem. It's almost, I don't know if he can put up a season like Wyatt Langford did last year, but at least you have that 1-2 punch there with Langford now gone.
Yeah, for sure. So they play tomorrow night here against State. Do we know who's the starting pitcher for tomorrow night?
No, he still was, not certain on that yesterday. So I do know probably not going to be Luke McNeely, who's been that guy. Like I said, do you move Alex Philpott in that rotation? Or that spot he started once earlier this year, or just try something different. So I'll be curious to see what he does there. But I do think there'll be a change, obviously.
Dan has a question for you, Scott, on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. He says gymnastics looks like a Final Four team. Your thoughts?
They do at this point. I mean, I think they've gotten better. Well, I know they've gotten better as each meet. I mean, they improved their score 7 weeks in a row, Shane, which is very, very difficult to do. Obviously, in gymnastics, the only team in the country who could say that. They went out to Nebraska and won again this week, so they won the SEC outright. And when the season started, I certainly looked at this as kind of a bridge year between what they've had and what they could have when Kayla Dacello comes back. She's doing the gap year for the Olympics. But with the way Leanne Wong and Victoria Wynn and some of these other young newcomers like Anya Pilgrim have been performing, I don't know if they can win it all, but yeah, I'm not going to be surprised if they're right back there in Fort Worth, in the Final Four with the way they're going right now. I think Leanne Wong has obviously established herself, right there at the top of the NCAA gymnastics. It's kind of like, we're used to Trinity Thomas the last few years and Bridget Sloan and others over the years. Leanne Wong is right there in that company.
What gymnastics to me lasts forever. When is the next? Am I crazy to think that? It seems like their postseason takes forever.
Yeah, it almost takes as long as the regular season, Shane, because they'll take a week off now before the conference, and then of course there's another week off before the regional. So yeah, I mean they take that time off obviously after an intense regular season to give the athletes some time to heal and practice. So it does stretch out. So the finals are usually in late April out in Fort Worth. So we got a few weeks. But the Gators, if they stay healthy, I think they're going to be there. And then it all comes down once you're there. Just you've got to be when it comes. And they've been so close last year and the year before. So we'll see.
You also I don't know if you watched any of the softball, but they start 2-0 in Tuscaloosa, which they run ruled Alabama. I don't think that's happened in many, many years. Pretty fun team to watch, man. Ava Brown and Rothrock, these girls can pitch the softball, and they're hitting right now. Did you get to see any of the softball this weekend?
I didn't. I just read what our SID puts out, but they keep getting my attention because of what you just said, Shane. I seem like I've read about 3 no-hit stories already this year, or perfect games. And Rothrock and Brown, I mean, Tim Walton talked about this team going into the season and where the program was, if you look at what they've done the last 2 years, I think what they really missed in some ways is just those elite pitchers like they had in the days with, Hannah, I know with Lauren Hager, and her name slipped me now.
Hannah Rogers?
Hannah, yes, her name was slipping me. But, I mean, they just were great when it mattered the most. And they've had some really good pitchers since then. But, you've got to have that elite pitching if you're going to get out in Oklahoma City and win it. And I think with these young pitchers, I don't know if they're there to be considered that in their first year, but they certainly look like they have that potential. And what they've done early on is been pretty impressive. And you hit on the head, too. The offense is, scoring runs. So when you run rule Alabama, you're doing something right. And it's what a confidence boost early in the SEC season for that team. So I'll be curious to, if they can just keep this momentum and ride it. But they're going to do it with those young pitchers either way. But they've got to be confident right now.
Yes, and I mean Ava Brown, she hit a bomb last night. She's kind of like Lauren Hager. She pitches and hits, so that's a good thing. But they are they're a fun team to watch. They're 21-3. They've lost twice to Michigan, who's not even ranked, which is weird. And then obviously the Oklahoma State game they kind of put together. So anytime you can win 2 games or win the series in Tuscaloosa is a good start to the year. Text on the Titan Mark text line from William. He says, Scott, have you been out to any spring football practices yet?
Yeah, I stopped by on Saturday for a little bit, and they've had 2 on Saturday. It was right before they broke for spring break, but I'm like everybody else. I just want to get out there and check out some of the new guys, see how they look out there, and instantly I have been pleasantly surprised. Some of these new guys, they kind of remind me what Gators are supposed to look like. Shane, I mean, Miles Graham. I mean, he looks like a Gator, man. He's well developed for a true freshman, and DJ Lagway. Obviously, we've seen a lot of him. Whether you watched his videos, highlight videos, or the All-Star games. I mean, we know what kind of. I mean, this kid, he's a big time looking athlete in terms of just muscle and build frame. So, I'm one of those that I'm pretty cautious with all these freshmen because I've been around and I've seen them, and they all get here and think they're headed straight to the NFL, but you realize they have a lot of work to do to ever get a chance at that. But some of these guys do look ahead of the curve physically, and that is always a huge plus when you see a true freshman step on campus, and he looks a little bit above, what you expect a freshman to look like. So that's my big takeaway so far. I mean, I just like to see what the new guys look like, and it's been pretty low key at the start of camp in terms they're not doing a lot out there, but the vibe has been pretty good. I mean, there's an intensity out there that I think's needed. I think some of the new staff has added some energy that I think will help. So, we'll see where it goes, and there's a lot to be determined before they ever play a game. But just for the first couple of days, it seems like it's a good vibe out there.
Christopher's question for you on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Ask about Asa Turner. I didn't realize he was that big.
Yeah, Asa Turner, he's definitely going to be a player who will be a first year. I mean, an impact player for him. He's only got 1 year here, transfers from Washington. As I was sitting there, and I told somebody, now this guy, he looks like he could be a coach because he's a grown man. I mean, he looks not quite my age, but he definitely looks older than a college kid. But he can play. He's physically a big guy back there to have in the secondary. Obviously knows about winning with his career at Washington, knows what a team looks like that can compete for a national title. I think it's a big addition for this young defense. I think it's when you have guys like him on the roster to help set the tone with such a young team, I just think that's so crucial. And any coach will tell you that you've got to have guys who the players respect. The coaches can only do so much. They've got to believe. They've got to hear it from their peers too. So when you have a guy like Turner around, that's a huge factor.
Yes, for sure. Text on the Titan Mark text line from Robert in Mobile, Alabama. Scott, did you notice any difference in the offense now that Russ Callaway is the OC?
No, I mean nothing significant out there. I mean, we talked to Russ on Saturday after practice, and he was downplaying, some of that. I mean, although I think he's going to definitely be more involved in play calling, and he's like, look, it's a room with, I think he said 4 guys who have called plays, been offensive coordinators at different levels, so they're all going to have the offense is all going to kind of touch them in some ways. I don't expect any kind of major revamping of the offense. I think it's still a Billy Napier style offense with just Russ Callaway, when it comes crunch time, calling plays, taking some of the stuff off of Napier's plate. So, but yeah, I mean, I haven't seen anything significant, that says, wow, that looks so different,
All right, a couple more here. My question for you, because it's another long, both of these sports, swimming and diving. Where do we stand right now? I know they've had a really good year, but where do we stand with that sport? I get so lost because it's a long year.
Yeah, it is a long year. I mean, they went up and swept the SEC titles a couple of weeks ago, and now they're finalizing the lineups and these what they call last chance meets. I think they had one recently for their NCAA field. So they're at that postseason stretch. And when I don't know how they're going to shake out in the big picture at national championships, but they won. The men, I think, won the SEC now 12 years in a row, so they're going to be a factor. The women certainly should be a top 10 in the finals in the nation. So I think they're going to both be, like I said, top 10, top 5 in the finals. Can they win it? I don't know, because I'll be honest. I mean, I don't know. It's usually Stanford and a couple of these West Coast schools, Shane, that have these great teams. But I don't follow swimming as closely as some of the other sports. But I do know that Anthony Nesty is going to be the U.S. Olympic coach this year. So he's got a big summer ahead. But first, he's got the NCAA final. So they should be in competition. Huh?
Maybe Anthony, he'll do some recruiting, transfer portal in the at the Olympics, get some of those kids to transfer over here. Last question. It seems like every time I look on Twitter, Parker Valby is breaking some dang record. She has got to be one of the most decorated runners we've ever had here.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And she's won again the NCAA indoor championship in her events up in Boston this weekend. And I'm looking forward. I'm going to try to write about her. The Gators obviously host the SEC outdoor championships this year. If you've been over by the track anytime recently, you can tell they're sprucing it up, getting ready for that big event. First time I think they've hosted that in, 12 to 15 years. It's been a while. So, but she will be a centerpiece of that because, like you said, she is such a decorated runner. I remember, they've had some great runners, those distance runners over the years. There was a girl here, Corey. I can't remember her name a few years ago, but Parker Valby has obviously, I think, rewritten the top of those record books. And like I said, I don't know much about her personally. Don't know how she got in all this, and suddenly, but I've seen her running around campus. I've seen what she's done at these big events. So she's good at what she does, Shane.
She's damn good. Last thing, Andy wants to know when the 2 Bits publication will be hitting the mail.
2 Bits, it should have probably gone out Friday, if I'm guessing. I think they get mailed from Kentucky, somewhere up near Lexington. So hopefully they'll be in the mailbox in the next day or two, but it should be this week, hopefully.
Okay. Scott, good stuff as always, my man. Appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you soon. Enjoy spring break.
All right, Shane, have a good one, my man.
That's Scott Carter, senior writer for FloridaGators.com, joining us on the Titan MRO Hotline, courtesy of Duffield Home Improvements. Silverback Concrete builds firm foundations for generations. You stand on it, we stand by it. Tomorrow we'll have Buddy Martin, possibly Mike Morgan. If not, we'll definitely have Mike on Wednesday. He's calling the game with Mark Wise, the championship, Sun Belt Championship tonight. I think it's Arkansas State, James Madison. James Madison's a very good basketball team. So hope y'all enjoyed today's program. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.